It's 2025, and just like I promised at the beginning of the season, at the start of every month, I'm going to give you guys my power rankings. So I think you guys get the picture. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. On the road to 18,000. We're this close, but let's get into it. View these teams in tiers of 5, so you can move any of these teams on your screen now. Up one spot, down one spot. Really, it doesn't make too big of a difference exactly where they are. Now, if you have, like, let's say the Jazz at 20, let me know down in the comments. We can talk about it. I get back to every single comment as quickly as I possibly can. Now, here is 26 through 30. Now, whether by injuries or youth, it just hasn't been a great start to the season as far as the win-loss column. The Wizards, Jazz, and Pelicans. Should I maybe move the Jazz above the Pelicans? Absolutely. But these teams, just due to injuries or youth, it's not their season. Now, shout out to CJ McCollum, 50 burger like a week ago. And they've actually been okay here to start the new year as far as their numbers getting a little bit better. Now, for Toronto and Charlotte, look, you've had your starting lineup back now, and you're still not winning games, at least like we think you should. So they drop a couple spots down to the bottom 5, and the Hornets, they're honestly just not the greatest team, right? They have LaMelo and some nice young pieces and games from pieces around LaMelo. But overall, as a unit, they're not putting it together to get these wins and maybe make that play-in push like some optimistically thought that they could before the season. But they're here in the bottom 5. Now, the Portland Trailblazers, believe it or not, are actually at number 25. Despite a 4-10 December, they've had some good games here, and I think as an overall unit, they've looked pretty good, or at least better than what they were to start the season. I'm still not a big fan of Chauncey Billups, but maybe he can turn this thing around second half of the year, and we look at this team differently going forward. But again, it's a rebuilding year there in Portland. For the Bulls, they've actually been one of the better teams. I believe 8-6 in the month of December. They probably should be as high as maybe 21 on this list. And that's what I'm saying. It's all objective to your liking. But yeah, again, if you had the Bulls as high as 21, maybe even 20, I'm not mad at you because they had a great month of December basketball. And it looks like it's going to continue to improve. They're getting a lot of good games from the pieces outside of Nikola Vucevic. They need to move him ASAP. The problem is, I don't know if you're going to find a suitor outside of Golden State. Brooklyn, their great start to the season is starting to fade a little bit. They're starting to come back down to reality. And of course, they're not done moving pieces. So, as we all expected, this is going to be a complete rebuild and I guess retooling here in the middle of the season. And they're going to go after Cooper Flag. Sacramento, it's been ugly. As much as I love Domantas Sabonis, as much as I praise De'Aaron Fox in the offseason, it's just not collectively coming together as a group. And this is a team that I thought could be one of those sneaky, first round teams that knocks off a top team in the Western Conference. But that's just not what's going to happen. At this point, they're fighting for a play-in spot. And I don't really see any dramatical changes happening for this team to get to that point. They fired Mike Brown as a scapegoat to maybe see if that would change things. They won their first game with Doug Christie as the head coach, but ever since that, it's back to what it has been all season long. Mike Brown, let's just say, was only part of the problem here in Sacramento. Miami at 21, despite all the things going around Jimmy Butler. Is he going to be traded? Is he going to stay with the team? The report this morning said that he might actually suit back up for the Miami Heat after his 7-game suspension. I don't know what's going on in Miami, but great season from Tyler Hero. Now, the Pistons at 20, they were 8-5 in the month of December, despite losing Jaden Ivey for some of the games at the tail end of the year, which is unfortunate. Jaden Ivey had injury problems last year, came back from it, and he looked pretty good, right, to start this season. And now he goes down with another fibula injury. So, again, speedy recovery for Jaden Ivey. Hopefully he comes back to the court sooner rather than later because I believe, like I predicted in the preseason, this is a play-in level team and I think they might sneakily be able to grab the 8 seed if everything goes right. But they need to be healthy, and of course they just lost a big piece to do so. But for the Pistons, you dropped 2 spots despite an amazing month. It's not so much that you had a bad month. It's that the Sixers jumped up a lot of spots. And I think when I look at the grand scheme of things, which team do I think can go farther in the playoffs? Of course, it's the team with an MVP and great pieces around them, a team that's ready to win right now. in the Philadelphia 76ers. And like I mentioned, your last month plays a good part in these rankings, but also the grand scheme of things of championship contention level. I put you a little bit higher on these lists. So the Sixers at 19, the Suns at 18. They had one of the worst months in the NBA in December, but we have to remember Devin Booker was out for a large stretch of that. Now, has it been pretty? No. I think the first 10 games of the season has blinded me, kind of like how the Jets did this season in the NFL. It blinded me into thinking that this is going to be a legitimate contender in the Western Conference. They started 8-2. They were a top five offense and defensive team throughout that stretch of the season. And I thought with Bud bringing in this defense with their offensive firepower, I said this is a team that might be the biggest contender to OKC in the Western Conference in a 7-game series. But it just continues to weather health, right? Or when they are healthy, which Devin Booker's back now, thankfully, they're still not getting wins. So the Phoenix Suns dropped to number 18. Can they be lower? Absolutely. I think it's the star power that's blinding me to keeping them at this spot. Now, Minnesota and Indiana, 16 and 17. Not great starts to the season for either team. Both teams have had really good nights, but also really bad nights. They're struggling to find their groove, or in other words, consistency to potentially build off of that and become an elite team like they were last year. Again, both these teams were in the Final Four last season, but they're in the bottom half of the league to start the month of January, in my opinion. Let's get into the top 15, and we're going to kick it off here with the Atlanta Hawks, a team that was 8-7 in the month of December, which is, again, not the greatest, but I just think when you watch this team, the eye test goes a long way. I think Trae Young his impact is going farther than his numbers, despite being the NBA's assist leader. Jalen Johnson is the most improved player this year. Dyson Daniels is maybe again, an all NBA first team defender this season. Again, Clint Capella, double O, they have a weird dynamic there, but they're playing solid minutes in their own right. Bogey is an interesting trade piece for this team to maybe go out and get a Cam Johnson or someone of that nature if they decide to move some draft capital. I think this Hawks team is sneaky. Now, do I think that I like them more than, let's say, 5 teams in the Eastern Conference in a playoff series? Probably not. But I think that there's the potential that they could make some noise here in the Eastern Conference with Trae Young and all the nice pieces around them. Most notably, again, Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels. But the Atlanta Hawks, they've been really good and they move into the top 15. Again, I think they won 5 in a row at this point in time. At 14 is Golden State, and we'll go through this one quickly. Look, at this time last month, I was high on this team because with Steph Curry missing some time, they were staying afloat and still one of the best teams in the Western Conference, and the defense was there, right? Draymond was kind of like a top 5 depoy candidate going into last month, right? But this last month, killed the Golden State Warriors. They were 6-11 this past month, and Steph Curry was healthy for a good portion of that. But they're just not finding the wins. They're not closing out games. The defense lacks sometimes. It has definitely taken a step back. And outside of Steph Curry offensively, they just lost Jonathan Kuminga for an extended period of time. So that's going to hurt them in this month going forward. And Buddy Hield has also fallen off the face of the planet, coming back down to reality to the Buddy Hield that we all know for his NBA career. So if Steph Curry doesn't dial back into that 2020, 2021 mode of Stephen Curry basketball, I think this team's going to continue to slide down the Western Conference rankings, and they're going to be a team that we're just going to look at in a month from now and say, well, if they make the play-in, they could be dangerous, or they could be a fun play-in team like they've been the last couple of years. They just don't look like the contender that they looked like to start the NBA season, kind of like the Phoenix Suns. At 13, I love this San Antonio Spurs team, man. They were 8-8 in the month of December, and they're just getting some big time wins. They beat the Nuggets on back-to-back nights, once at home and once in Denver. Incredible night, I guess, stretch there from Wemby in this San Antonio Spurs squad. I think the impact of CP3 continues to go unnoticed as he's turned this team from a bottom feeder into a team that I think is going to be a playoff team here in just a couple months. I love this San Antonio team. It is led by a generational talent, even though that term's thrown around a lot. He's an alien for a reason. Ladies and gentlemen, Wembanyama is here, and he is made his impact known already, setting records across the league in just a year and a half of basketball. But they're at 13 for me. Are they too high? Maybe. I love this team, and they, to me, are must-watch TV when I can get them. Of course, Crack Streams just went down. Rest in peace. But number 12 is Milwaukee. They made it to the final two of the play-in tournament. Of course, that was unsettled last month, and they had a pretty good month here in the month of December. 7-7, but again, they had some big-time wins in that stretch. And this is a team that is finding the groove, and some of the role players are gaining confidence. Of course, now they have Chris Middleton playing consistent minutes on a nightly basis. Now, a team that is not finding their groove, it's actually the quite opposite, is the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic went down. Kyrie Irving has missed some time over these last couple of weeks. I am going to the Cavaliers-Mavericks game, I believe, in a couple weeks, and I so hope that both of those guys are healthy and really playing minutes against the Cavaliers. That should be a classic of a game. Of course, we know how that game ended last year. But for the Mavericks, they're just down their star players. They're losing more games than they should be. And again, being 8-7 despite all those injuries, I still think they're a top 11 team. They just need their guys to be healthy. Moving into the top 10, we have two LA teams just like they wanted. But the Clippers at number 10, they just got the claw back. And man, was I happy to see that dude back on the court smiling, playing basketball, and just being the elite player that he is. This is a team that was 8-6 in the month of December, and they're only getting started. James Harden's impact, I've been saying all season, is on the same level as his Houston days, though his numbers don't reflect the same. I believe his impact is that great here for this LA Clippers team. And I'm interested to see this dynamic between Harden and Kawhi going forward. I just hope Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy, man. If he can stay healthy, this is going to be a sleeping giant in the Western Conference, especially if Norman Powell can continue to give him 24 points a night. And number 9 is the LA Lakers. I am so happy that they are just in a position to give LeBron a chance. That was my one wish for this team coming into the year. Be a top 6 seed. Make sure LeBron doesn't have to go through the play-in, and just give him a chance to chase this last ring. That is all I wanted. Anthony Davis returned to the lineup recently, so that was good to see. Austin Reeves has been playmaking like crazy this season, especially after D'Lo's departure. And bringing in DFS was, again, a perfect fit for the LA Lakers. They have the depth, they have the defense. They just need LeBron and AD to be healthy and to turn that switch on when it matters most. But as of right now, it's about playoff positioning, and I hope they can stay at this pace and to be a top 6 seed here come April. And number 8 is the Denver Nuggets. I know they just lost back-to-back games to the San Antonio Spurs, and I know that Wemby had great historical performances in those games, and they still lost those games. Well, I guess at least one of them. I misspoke there, but still, this is the same story all season long. We know Jokic is going to do everything he can, put up a 40-point triple-double every single night if he needs to in the playoffs, but can we get enough around him? That's the biggest question. And if they can, even if they just get a little bit of help around him, this is a team that, no doubt in my mind, can still contend for an NBA title. The Magic at 7, should they be lower? Absolutely. But I love this team. The defense is amazing. To me, best defense in the league outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, maybe even the Boston Celtics. But top 3 defense in the league to me. Despite losing guys like Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, they're still competing on a nightly basis, and I just love their potential when their guys can get healthy. So sure, should they be probably at number 10? I wouldn't put them past number 10, but the defense is just amazing. They're getting great performances. I just want to see their guys healthy, and they can, again, be like the Clippers, sleeping giants in their respective conference. At number 6 is the Memphis Grizzlies. I was high on this team before the season, and here they are. At number 6, this is a team that is number 2 in the Western Conference, and they were 10-6 in the month of December. Now, again, that doesn't include Ja Morant playing all 16 of those games. When Ja Morant played, they were 8-3. So again, when Ja Morant plays, one of the most must-watch players in the NBA, and this team wins when he is on the court. Now again, great defense there as well. They just need to find a little bit more consistency offensively, especially in those big-time matchups. Minor movements here in the top 5. Of course, the Rockets stay at 5. Cavaliers stay at 3. Should the Cavaliers maybe be higher? I don't know. I'm like a reverse bias kind of a fan where I don't like to overhype my team too much, But honestly, in a 7-game series, I don't think we stand a chance against Boston, let alone the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the Knicks move up here. They've been playing really good basketball. And despite losing that game to the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is a team that was 13-4, a lot of back-to-back nights, but 13-4 in the month of December, and they move into the top four. Honestly, as a Cavs fan, I don't even know if we beat the Knicks in a 7-game series at this point in time. But the Cavaliers, of course, again, number one team in the NBA record-wise. But these are, I think, the undisputed top five teams, no matter what order you want to have them in. The Celtics were one, and I thought they were going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road just the other night. But the Thunder had a huge second half comeback. Shea went for like 33, and they got a big time win in that one. Tatum, man, where you at, man? We need to have a little bit of a better game in a primetime game like that on Sunday. But that is the top five, and that is my January edition of my NBA Power Rankings. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. But of course, again, if you drop a comment, I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. And on Thursday, big news here. NFL Wildcard Weekend is here. Amir is going to join the show like he has every single week. And we're going to go through that NFL slate. We're going to talk about the games, give our predictions, best bets, power rankings. You name it, we do it over on Thursday's show. It's a great show every single week. You guys enjoy it. And again, if you made it to this point, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We are this close to 18,000 subscribers. And of course, we can't get there without you. What a better way to start 2025 than to hit a milestone again for the second time in 30 seconds. We can't get there without you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and get out of here.